Hello once again, everybody, and welcome back to Gaming Nest News here on Nest HQ. My name is Joker, as always, bringing you the news that you want to know here about the gaming world. And now that we've passed New Year's, we've got ourselves into 2021, it's time to take a look forward instead of looking back at hindsight and what 2020 is or was. Let's take a look forward at 2021. The boys at Project Supervillain have got ourselves a great video of games that we can look forward to here in January for all the various consoles and PC. Boys, take it away.
What's up, dudes? Happy New Year and all that good stuff. We're your hosts from Project Supervillain. I'm Mark Drifter.
I'm Killboss.
Today we're going to be taking a look at 4 games that we found that are coming out this month. We kind of want to give them a little shout out so that you guys know where they're coming out, what date, and just what exactly to expect this month.
So yeah, these are basically the releases that we are most excited for this January, and I think they're all worth checking out. So let's get into it.
Okay, the first game that we've got here is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the Complete Edition. It's coming out January 14th. Again.
Yes.
This game was out in like 2013, around that time when the movie came out and when the comics were really, really prevalent. And at a certain point, it just disappeared off the shelves, off of all the digital stores and markets. So I don't know what happened there, but Ubisoft got the game back. They got the rights to it or whatever. I think there was just a lot of like rights issues going on there, but they got that figured out. So that game's coming on to Epic Games Store, Xbox One, PS4, Stadia, and Switch. I imagine you can play them on the new gen consoles as well. Essentially, it's going to have all the DLC as well, so Knives Chow and Wallace Wells and a bunch of other extra levels and secrets.
It's also going to have 4-player co-op for online and local, classic beat-em-up style game, you know, Streets of Rage-esque, that sort of thing. Those are really fun to play with friends. Don't want to miss out.
Go get that one.
So, the next one that we have here is Hitman 3, and that's coming out this month, January 20th, PS5, PS4, Series X, Xbox One, Stadia, PC, you know, all the good stuff. Epic Games Store, though. Ain't gonna be no Steam for that one. Not yet, anyways.
And if anybody's not familiar with the Hitman game yet, it's essentially just a stealth-based third-person narrative. Really cool game, honestly. This guy's a big fan of it himself, actually.
So yeah, for anyone else who's a fan out there, it looks like we're just going to be getting more Hitman, which is awesome. I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with some more Hitman, right? So all the good stuff that you love to do, you know, sneaking around, sleuthing, taking disguises, stealing key cards, breaking into things, setting up scams, all that kind of stuff. It's good fun. And looks like they're going to be making a lot more improvements, a lot more optimization, so I'm excited for that because the last few games, they were getting a bit big, like Call of Duty size big. It was just like, it's a bit much.
Here's to hoping there's no killer floating briefcases this time.
Actually, please, that was fucking hilarious.
On to our next title. It's Cyber Shadow. This is kind of a hidden gem kind of game, looks like. It's coming out on the 26th of January for all major consoles, as well it's going to be on Steam for PC. And it looks like it's going to be just a side-scroller kind of in line with the original like Ninja Gaidens.
Oh, yes.
And it's got beautiful 8-bit level design. Looks really, really cool.
Definitely looks beautiful, and it also looks super challenging as well. Like, it's got like this kind of side-scroller Ghost Runner vibe. Looks like it's one of those games where it's like you got to make a perfect run, and otherwise it's a one-hit death for the section or whatever. I'm totally down for that. Love the challenge in Ghost Runner, and this game looks like it's going to give us the same sort of challenge, just in a different aesthetic and a different gameplay style. But yeah, definitely always down for some Ninja Gaiden-esque gameplay. I'm going to be getting this one.
Go check that one out. So the last game we want to talk about here is The Medium. It's coming out on January 28th. And that one's going to actually be an Xbox Series X exclusive. So if you have an S or an X, you're going to want to play it on that guy. It's got like a split perspective horror kind of thing going on where you got 2 different worlds mixing into one almost, and like your perspective will be shifting between the two. It's very unique.
Yes, it's definitely like giving me some of those Silent Hill vibes with that split world perspective where you have like a dark world and a light world and they kind of intermingle. That looks awesome, but beyond that, I can't really say what's going on in the game. It looks terrifying and beautiful, and I just want to know more, and the more that I find out, the more questions I have. So, yeah, we're going to be finding out for ourselves when we get the chance to play that one, whether it's on an Xbox Series X or some other platform it launches on.
Maybe they'll do a PC release later or something, but that's all the games we've got for you today, guys. So hopefully we'll check out one of these ones, or one of these is on your list, and you can check that off because, yeah, these look like some really awesome games. So that's going to be it for today, though, guys. See you next week.
All right, catch you guys later. Beach out.
thanks once again, Project Supervillain, for bringing us that video. And as you may have noticed, we have seen a little bit of a name change. No longer Midnight White. His name is now Kill Boss. And there's a very good reason for that. And I've got some information here for you from Kill Boss himself. Kill Boss is set to provide you with a sonic assault on the senses that's sure to electrify you and leave you craving more. After a decade of developing and perfecting my music production skills, I felt like it was time to finally unleash my particular brand of savage electronic beats. That meant it was also time to rebrand and restructure with the name and presence to match the fury of my electronic orchestra. After many identity changes over the years, my subconscious has at last provided the perfect inspiration in the form of a half-remembered dream. If you're a fan of hard electric music, be sure to stay tuned for an upcoming debut EP. No dates yet, but it will be ready when it's ready. Till then, keep following for updates, and I'll see you soon, friends, from Kill Boss. Something exciting to look forward to here in 2021. Continuing our look forward here, our old main man Richard has something else to look forward to here moving forward, and some game releases over the course of the year and things to keep your eye on if you want to be prepared for what could be the biggest releases of the year. So Richard, let's see what you've got for us.
Happy New Year, friends. We've made it through the hell year that was 2020, and hopefully we are not falling headfirst into another terrible and problematic ceaseless shit show that will consume us all one by one. We're only a few days into 2021, and hey, I still have a job, so that's already looking up from the start of 2020. Moving away from personal matters, we know why you're here. Video games. Specifically, games coming out in 2021. If you watched my last video, you'll know my stance on why this console generation is not worth the time as of yet due to various bugs, issues, a low count of interesting exclusives, costs, etc. I wanted to do a video on why this year is also a really bad year for video gaming, so let's get started. And I'll start this thing off with a list of games that I actually am interested in. We have the re-release of the Scott Pilgrim beat-em-up in January, finally released from the dungeon that Ubisoft had kept it in. And while the gameplay is so-so, the music is very much top tier. With a wide cast of characters and some slamming tracks, this should keep fans stuck in the 2010s entertained for at least a few hours. Likewise from Ubisoft, the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake comes in March. And that's one of the best games of the 6th console generation. Hopefully, it's more than just an up-resed or reskinned version of the game, but these days, asking for more engaging content from a publisher like Ubisoft just keeps justifying their actions behind the scenes. I'll be bouncing in my seat, waiting for the Nier Replicant version 1.224744874139 continuing on April 23rd. Gamers everywhere praise Nier Automata as an incredible experience, and it's worth seeing and playing this massive update and overhaul to the first game, bringing back where the series started to the modern day. I'm a little disappointed we don't get to play as Papa Nier, but that might just come as a DLC costume down the line. Fingers crossed. And finally, May 21st is one of our last confirmed dates for releases, giving us probably my most highly anticipated game of this year, Deathloop. Arcane Studios is taking their incredible systems from Dishonored, one of my favorite series of all time, and turning it into this 80s grindhouse action movie styled time looping romp. And if that sentence and this footage behind this don't get you excited, you have ice in your veins. But is that enough to merit purchasing a $500 console? We want exclusives and fantastic story-driven experiences, and going over the list of video games coming out in just the next few months, we already don't have a hell of a lot to be hyped for. We're still waiting for hard confirms on a lot of games. Halo Infinite and the fabled Elden Ring should be coming sometime around the end of this year. Maybe. And God of War Ragnarok is nothing but a teaser at the moment. And Metroid Prime 4 has been delayed and restarted one more time. No real major titles we care about are on the horizon. We still have a lot of interesting smaller titles like White Owl Inc.'s next game, The Good Life, led by Swery65 of Deadly Premonition fame, as niche as that is, as well as a little gem called Skatebird by Glass Bottom Games, which looks to be fantastic, and I highly suggest picking that up too. We're going to have to keep an eye out for some more of these indie titles, because they could really be most of what we get delivered to us this year. And that just doesn't justify the cost of a new console when we aren't getting those slam dunk powerhouses we've come to expect within the first year. And even then, we might have to wait another year or two on top of that to see the next installments of some truly great games anyway. But hopefully, the way the news is going, we'll all be able to return to a level of normalcy, less time at home compared to the whole of last year, and maybe more time back at work. Perhaps this is a sign of the times as well, that side grades and incremental updates that we've been getting for consoles are just not enough anymore. It's less revolution for this generation and more just a small evolution. Because of this, I'm not sure whether or not the PS5 and Xbox Series X will go the way of the dodo.
Thanks once again, Richard, for that update, and look forward there into 2021. And something that both the Project Supervillain boys and Richard also brought to the table was the fact that the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World beat 'em up is finally being re-released. I remember it was stuck on the Xbox 360 and the digital platform for such a long time. Finally going to be released, and like they both said, it is a game that, while the gameplay may not have held up exactly the best over the last 10 years, it's still a side-scrolling beat-em-up that you can play on the couch with your friends or online with your friends, with one of the best music soundtracks that I remember in the last 10 years. Anna Managuchi did a fantastic job on that soundtrack, and so definitely something worth checking out if you are into those side-scrolling beat-em-ups, or even if you're a fan of Scott Pilgrim. Next up, we've got Commissioner David, who's going to be bringing us a little bit more information on the stock market and how it's been fluctuating over the last couple of weeks as we have taken that holiday break, and what to look forward to in 2021 for gaming stocks. So, David, let's take a look and see what we've got.
Hello, everybody. It is me, David, and I'm here to just kind of go through I'm cheating here. I was supposed to do this last week, but it didn't really get done last week. Basically, just go through kind of the month of the stock market here, just to, I guess, end of year, kind of new year going in here, just kind of seeing what happened, kind of assessing some of the ideas that I had previously on some of the tickers here. Let's just dive right into it, though. Because if you've been watching this segment, you're pretty familiar with what's going on and which ones I'm looking at so far. So I'm not going to go in any particular order, but I am starting off with my favorite one. Again, no particular order, just happens to be my favorite one here. Corsair previously had reached a very, very large high up around the $42, $43 mark there. Happened to decrease, took a lot of big bumps. My only biggest regret with this one is not buying these dips, because usually when it hits 40, it goes down to about 36, then goes back up to 40. Here it just kind of has been having a little bit of a rough time, actually breaking down to $34 at one point. But I really, truly am in favor of this stock. I particularly like it because I think that it is an investment stock, not just something that I'm going to play around with in the market. So I'm definitely keeping my eye out on this one. I am a long hold on this one, and it hasn't really disappointed me. It is holding up a little bit of strength. The market's been a little bit crazy since the new year started. Moving on to NVIDIA here. Basically a very, very interesting stock here that has been having its ups and downs. Basically reaching a peak of almost $546 and then decreasing all the way to $521, then just kind of bouncing back up. Still trying to find its footing, basically. I don't think the controversy of it selling goods to China has really done a whole lot to caused this issue. Just a lot of bouncing around. Again, still a good stock. It is competing with AMD, so we might see a lot of interesting movement depending on what AMD announces with their graphics cards and the sales results and everything like that. But obviously, NVIDIA's rocketing off with all of its sales with the RTX cards that are coming out. I'm very excited to watch that. So this one's a bit of an expensive stock. I haven't really followed this one too much, but I mean, it probably will grow with the rest of the thing, especially with Bitcoin. I'm not sure if people are still buying the cards for Bitcoin mining, but there's always a market probably, and something to keep in mind with Bitcoin hitting an all-time high. I'm not a follower of Bitcoin. I don't invest in it myself. Basically, I can't particularly speculate on that side, but I can definitely say that people that are mining are definitely going to be buying a few more cards here and there. Moving on to Intel. Oof, what a rough month here. Now, I'm pretty sure, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure I said this had to keep above 50, otherwise I was basically out, or I wouldn't have too much faith in it. And it did break 50, and it dove all the way down, basically down to $45 at one point. It has recovered since then, which is good to see. However, that little warning sign right there, I know I was watching that one for a while and was worried about that. Again, they are competing with AMD. There is a little bit of that controversy with selling to China, using it for tracking software, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not sure if that's particularly something the capitalist market really cares about. A little bit callous to say, but at the same time, the market speaks a completely different language than everybody else does at times. But we'll see where this goes. If it breaks down under 50 again, I'd be a little bit worried, but it does have some potential to keep moving up higher, if anything. Also, moving on to Take-Two Interactive here. Very interesting movements here. It basically increased all the way from 183, peaking about $208 around there. A little bit higher actually, about 209. But obviously, it's a stock that has games under their umbrella. They're expecting growth. They're expecting more players, especially with the virus that's happening right now. Obviously, there is a lot more potential for an upward movement. This could be like a big conglomerate in the future. I'm talking about like way down the future. As long as they keep pumping out quality content, then I think people will have a lot more faith into this one. Just moving on to, I just want to look at Dell for a quick second, if it'll actually load up here. There we go. Dell's never been a particularly too interesting stock, in between 75 to 71 here, a little bit of an increase from the beginning. Again, just not really something I'm really particularly looking at, but I just wanted to add it in there. It seems to be kind of a more stable stock, a little bit of a defensive stock, if anything. If some people want to just have something in their portfolio that's a little bit more static in regards to the business computers. But we might be able to see that have a little bit of an upswing with the sales and laptops, peripherals, everything for computers, because everybody's working at home now. So we'll see about that. With EA Games, a bit of a surprising movement from the beginning of the month beginning of December, moving up from basically, 129 all the way, peaking at 143. It's kind of kept its little area right here in between the 140 mark and above. We'll see if it can go on. I'm just going to say same comments as this one for Take-Two Interactive, basically. Logitech here has just been steadily increasing. Obviously, people are buying a lot of headsets, peripherals, things like that. Again, this is going to be one of those ones that is good to have in a portfolio. Also pays a dividend, if you aren't aware. I think the dividend yield is 0.90. So almost 1%, but not quite, but 0.90%. Basically, the last dividend that was given out, I'm not 100% sure what it was because it's not giving me the currency correctly, but it's a dividend stock, so it's always kind of interesting to see that. And of course, this has been growing for the longest time as well. Obviously, about to hit over that $100 mark, so we might see a little bit of momentum here too. Going on to Turtle Beach. Turtle Beach always having a rough time. I do not know. I have seen this stock go up and down, up and down, up and down, and it just doesn't like to hold its highs for some weird reason. It hit all the way up to about $26 and then is all the way back down to $21. At least it's better than when it used to always crash and crack down a little bit lower. As long as it holds above 20, I wouldn't be too worried about it, but this little movement here really concerned me when I saw it go under 20, because that 19 could have easily turned to 15 to 12 and go further down. But obviously strong sales within the coronavirus sort of area of headsets might be pushing it up, but we'll see with their sales numbers. ATVI, Activision Blizzard, again, just kind of grouping this in with EA and Take-Two Interactive. A lot of people gaming, a lot of people buying games, obviously seeing strong sales, has had upward momentum for the entire month. I don't really want to spend too much time on that. And AMD, AMD, this one was a bit of a freaky one. I actually was in this and I got out at around the 90. I think I was at 97 and got out at about 96. Something didn't scream very well to me. I think it might have been this drop, but I happened to get out around this point. It really did drop down all the way to 90, actually cracking below $90 all the way to $89. Very, very terrifying for probably a few other people. But other than that, you know, I still think it's got potential. You know, they're coming out with the graphics card. They're going to have their sales numbers. They're going to have their CPU chips. So obviously, more people at home buying computers, everything like that. This one would be one of those ones that I would put in my portfolio just because it does seem like a good one to have as a defensive stock because it is going to grow. They're not going anywhere. They have good products, and they've been taking an amazing direction since they've basically... from even 2018 basically forward, amazing strides. Other than that, that seems to be most of the ones that I've been watching at and that we were talking about previously. I'm going to throw this on back to everybody else. Basically, I'm going to keep doing this for the rest of the week every so often. Try to keep it a little bit shorter. But other than that, hopefully keep your eye on the market. It's a little bit tumultuous right now. And anyways, we'll go right back.
Thanks again, David, for that great look into the stock market and how it's shaking out here after the holiday break and what, you know, these gaming and peripheral companies are looking forward to in 2021 and how we can respond in kind and try to see if we can't bolster our own portfolio and make us a little bit more money in our back pockets. That's just about it for us here this week at Gaming Nest News. Once again, though, we do have our call to action out. We want to see your gameplays, your reactions. We want to see your plays and what you have done and brought to the table. So if you've got anything you want to share with us, you want to see it here on Gaming Nest News, please hit us up at info@nesthq.online with your clips and your social media. We'll make sure to get it out and let the world see what you can bring to the table. We're still looking for contributors to be featured on our show, so if you've got a news idea, news piece that you want to do, video piece that you want to showcase as well, again, info@nesthq.online, and we'll make sure we get in contact with you, and you may just see yourself here on Gaming Nest News. Continue to keep an eye out for upcoming tournaments here in the future. We've got a lot planned on our plate for 2021. A lot of different gaming tournaments, a lot of various games and exciting tournaments to bring to you. And if you want to be a part of that, continue to stay tuned to all of our social media, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And we'll make sure that we give you all the information as soon as we have it. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe, follow button as well. We're going to be here weekly bringing you all the news that you want to know coming up every week. Once again, for the boys in Project Supervillain, for Commissioner David, for Richard, my name is Joker. Thank you so much for joining us here this week on Gaming Nest News. We'll see you next week.